Here we
All
are.
right. Happy Saturday,
Happy
everybody.
Saturday. Good morning.
We're so excited to be here with you on the Saturday of one of the last Saturdays of July.
Yes.
Second to last.
Yes.
That
Yes.
quickly.
Good morning. I'm Sean. This is Allison. We're Spoken Garden. If you didn't know, thanks for being here with us. We already see there's a couple people in the chat already.
Just catching
Good
up.
morning, Tracy. Good morning, Valerie.
Let's see. Kevin from Hawaii is also here. Hi, everybody,
morning,
by the way. Let's see. Fam Tai is here. Good morning,
Good morning,
to you
Fam Tai.
as well. Valerie, that is really early for a Saturday.
Yeah, we saw that. Wow, you were up. You were up pretty early there, but good. Good. Hopefully it was productive. And I see the coffee cups there.
I know, coffee.
I'm on my third one as we speak. So
I'm wondering if anyone else in the audience is a tea drinker like I am. So he's coffee, I'm tea.
Coffee.
English breakfast. That's usually what I start the day with.
Coffee.
And then I have it all day sometimes.
Yeah, I only have. See, that's one of the differences between us. She'll drink tea almost all day, black tea, it's caffeinated. I'll drink coffee just in the morning and then I'm done, and then it's just water the rest of the day. So
I really shouldn't drink so much caffeine, but I do. Sometimes I need it.
Yeah, hey,
but water too, lots of water.
To each their own.
I know. So how's everybody doing? What's been going on in your garden this past week, or what's been going on for you? We've continued to have really hot weather here in the PNW it's not like we're not used to it. It's just like constant, it's like.
It's a little bit more, it is a little bit more than we're used to. It is a little bit, it got warmer earlier this year than it normally does on average. So it's been an interesting dry year. And
just like consecutive days, of just hot weather.
Yeah.
So
usually we have the hot weather, but we also have intermittent rain squalls and storms that move through, and then it gets hot again and dry, and then it gets a little bit cooler with the rain. So yeah, I
know it makes me wonder. I haven't looked at the national weather, but is everybody still having a heat wave? Because they were talking about that for a while. It was unseasonably hot everywhere. So us gardeners, we always talk about the weather.
So if you weren't here last week, we talked about fertilizing. We talked about different kinds of fertilizer for different kinds of plants during different kinds of different times of the year. And so if you didn't see that, if you weren't here, definitely go check it out from last week, because that was a lot of fun.
I know. We hope that was helpful. It's been, we still have a lot of fertilizing to do in our own yard. Yeah. So we're kind of constantly getting ready to do, or, when we get into town to our garden.
Something that's
always
really
on our list. Sorry.
So something that's really helped us, though, get started, give our plants a boost, was using, just going to promote a little product here. It's a Spoma's BioStarter and Plant Tone, Bulb Tone. So there was Bulb Tone, and then there was the BioStarter. Biotone starter. Yeah. That's right. And both of those you put into the soil, and you mix in definitely the Biotone. And that just, our plants, we're seeing such a huge growth in our plants at the beginning of the season, and they're still going. It's amazing what that stuff will do. And so we still got to get some other fertilizer in there, but on a lot of the plants, but gosh, it's been amazing. So anyway, so just putting that in there. Espoma Organics, great company. We love them. Hi, Carla. Hi, Jamie. So anyway, but yeah, so that was last week, fertilizer. This week it's staking.
Yeah, we thought, this is also a very timely topic for most of us. Maybe some of you have already started staking some of your plants, which, because you generally want to get the stakes in the ground before they bloom, usually. Yeah. Sometimes we're running behind as we all are so busy, and it's just I gotta get some stuff staked.
Yep. So it's easy to forget about, but right now you can still do it.
Yeah,
we have a whole bunch of gladiolas we need to, or gladioli, I should say. Gladioli. To get staked. So we got to work on that the next time we're in, amongst a bunch of other things. So, really quick, and yesterday we released a new longer form video, deadheading salvia. We had 3 different salvia we deadheaded in our garden, and we shared that with you yesterday afternoon, evening. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check that out too, because we go through and explain how to deadhead different kinds of salvia. And what to expect, and a bunch of different things. So it's fun.
Yeah, we hope that was really helpful for you. We forgot we actually had a couple other salvias in the yard that were different types of salvias. So
they're actually kind of all over the place.
They're kind of everywhere. And we were like, oh my gosh, we forgot about that one, that one, that one. So if those, some of them do need to be deadheaded, but if it necessitates a new video for a different type of salvia, maybe we'll add that in eventually.
Yeah.
But
and real quick too, it was there were 2 herbaceous salvia, perennial salvia, and then 1 hardwood salvia that we pruned on there, and they're all different in their own ways, but they're also very similar. So if you want to know more, check that out.
And they're so pretty. I can't wait for them to rebloom. I just love. If you watch the video, we totally got buzzed by a hummingbird. It was so cute. I tried to capture it in a video, but it wasn't like the best lighting, and they're so fast.
It
but,
always just kind of, oh wow, because you just hear that, that buzzing. Man, crazy.
They love the salvia.
Yeah, we have a lot of different plants that the hummingbirds like in our garden.
They've been all over my mom's garden.
Yeah, the Nephofia, the salvia. Yeah.
So many. Agastache. Yeah.
Kufia.
Kufia. Oh, they love the Kufias.
Yeah, amazing.
We're going to do a plant chat on Kufia coming up pretty soon here. Lots going on in the chat. I wanted to jump back and just give like a thumbs up to Ann Moy, who is also a tea drinker.
Oh.
So yay, tea drinkers.
Cool. Hi, Ann. PVJSLJ is here.
Yeah. Oh, hi. Yeah.
Hi there.
So glad you're here. So glad all of you are here. I was going to say Tracy is a coffee drinker like you, and then Ron the rest of the day. So you guys are the
team coffee,
the healthy ones.
Oh, Valerie too. Yeah, Valerie too. We're team coffee.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally.
Let's see. So yeah, you guys. What else is going on? Let's see. Working on third bag of bio. So you had mentioned Biotone.
Oh,
and
cool.
Like, yeah, we love Biotone.
Oh, good.
Biotone. Tracy said she's working on her third bag this season.
Yeah.
You must have got a lot planned in this year. That's super cool.
And Tracy, how are you getting along in the garden with your recovery on your leg? Was it leg, ankle?
It was your ankle or your knee? Yeah. I'm sorry, now I can't remember.
Yeah, just want to know. Need an update. We need an update.
I know.
So
sounds like you've been busy. So,
yeah, you're getting out there.
Valerie bought a new gardening book she wanted to share with everybody. It's called Gardening with Native Plants. By Arthur Kruckerberg and Linda Chalker Scott.
Linda Chalker Scott, cool.
We know we've met her a couple
she's
times.
with WSU. Go Cougs.
I know.
Yep.
Cool. Hopefully, Valerie, that's really helpful for you. I think what we find is that a lot of those books neglect to talk about bulbs, and that's where we stepped in and we're like, what about native bulbs? And we had so much fun talking about that this whole year.
Maybe that's in the book. Valerie, tell us.
Let us know
if there's a chapter or a section in the book that talks about native bulbs, because that'd be really fun.
That would be so fun.
We'd definitely get that book then.
We would love to hear more about that, because we're still going to hopefully continue talking about that a little bit more next year. We'll see.
I have a feeling we will.
We love bulbs, so why not? Okay, so Fam Ties here. My zone is 7B. Salvias die over winter and don't grow back. There are volunteers that popped up everywhere too, so that's cool, because then it's just like they perpetuate and keep showing up.
Right on, fam.
That's awesome.
Right on.
So, Tracy said her foot is foot.
It's a foot.
We're both wrong. We're all wrong. Foot is better. PT has helped a lot.
Good. Glad to hear it, Tracy. Glad to hear it. Yeah.
Well, you guys, so we've got a little poll going right now. We wanted to know, just in general, what do you need to stake this summer? I guess we should have had like an all of the above option.
Yeah, we should.
We have a list of some things we'll show you, and
stake
you were like, oh
everything.
I have that plan. I need to do that.
Stake it all.
Dahlias are one sometimes you don't think of staking, but they really need it. Because often they get very top heavy, especially if you've grown them like Sean and I have over the years. Like, we pack a lot in. You're really not supposed to, because they want a little bit more space, but often we need to due to lack of space. So
it's a balance.
They stretch, they get really big and top heavy and beautiful.
Well, it's a balance too, because we only have so much space, but then we want them to get big and bold and beautiful, and so they do. So it's it's a balancing act. Get that air circulation. So we keep the insects and the diseases low and photosynthesis high.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Yeah. So
we haven't really needed. Now, some of you have been following us for a bit. We've been growing our dahlias in grow bags. Last year, I don't think we staked them, but we did the year before.
No, we staked them last
year. Did we
stake
them?
Yeah.
See, I don't remember.
Yeah, it wasn't as big as a to do. Last year as it was the year before, though. We just went and did it last year. Yesterday.
Yesterday. We need to do it.
I need more coffee.
No more coffee. But what we've noticed in the grow bags is they do stay a little more compact in height, a little bit. So when our old dahlias and our old raised beds at our old house, they got really big, and we had like a really cool staking system set up that we'll implement probably again in the future when we have them in the ground again.
Yes.
But anyway,
that was fun.
I was just thinking about dahlias because they're so pretty and
totally
love dahlias.
Good morning, Erica B.
So Erica B, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning to you. Hope you're doing well this Saturday.
This is fun, everybody being here.
We're just so thrilled that you're all here. Valerie said she needed to stake a few lilies and crocosmia.
Awesome.
Yes, we kind of fake staked our crocosmia this year. I just slapped like a little what was that? A kind of like a trellis, but just a wood piece behind them, just to kind of prop them up. But we didn't really tie them or anything. It seemed to work okay.
Sometimes you can use that stuff like, in a pinch, but also there's those stakes that have like, so there's a stake and then it has like perpendicular 90, it's parallel to the ground. So it comes up and then it goes out and it's a circle deal. And I don't know what to call them, but you can use them per stalk, per stem, and they do great. Those work really good for crocosmia, and even gladiolus. What are those called?
Are you thinking of the little circular?
Yeah, the little circles, like the individual ones that come up and they're just flat on the top.
I think they just call them like flower stakes or something.
Don't they? But they're great to use, and for crocosmia, we've used them over the years for that, and they work great for that. And some of them, most of them, well, the ones we've used, they're black colored, but you can find them, I think, in green, and then they just blend in with everything. So it's really cool.
Well, and there's some really fun staking supplies that maybe would help you guys if you have some unusual staking areas, or like for Sean and I, everything's in containers right now. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Wait, we'll show that later.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. But I was just going to tease a little bit. Like there are some cool staking supplies and things that you can like kind of construct your own kind of structure if needed. To kind of. You can like build your own kind of staking system.
Well, a lot of gardens can be, a lot of gardens can be very unique in their setup, and with that uniqueness comes, you have to have a unique staking system, and not all staking systems are created equal. It really helps to have something that's really versatile, something that you can build to fit specifically your needs. And we know of a great company and their products that they make themselves and sell, and so it's pretty fun. We're going to show those to you here in a minute. So should we get into part of the presentation here? So okay.
Real quick, Tracy mentioned maybe they're called peony stakes.
Could be. Yeah.
We have a cool peony structured staking thing that we're going to show you from Gardener's Supply. They have a really cool one. Pibborn is here. Good morning, Pibborn. It's supposed to rain the next few days, and
okay.
Pibborn's wondering, thinking the tallest echinacea will need to be staked. Yeah, sometimes they can get really tall.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have any staking questions or just wonders, please drop them in the chat, and maybe we can all help each other. If you have a unusual situation, or I don't know, a flower you're not sure how to stake correctly, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to help. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Always.
All right.
And
here we go.
With that, let us
start our little slideshow here, you guys.
Kind of shrinking down.
We're shrinking.
What a world. What a world.
Wow. So we decided to just kind of go through staking flowers as a do's and don'ts kind of presentation, because we weren't really sure how to approach this. There's so many tips and best practices, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do pretty much the same thing. So
yeah.
So we're going to go through some definitely some do's and don'ts, but some benefits. And a lot of people might say, well, yeah, duh, staking's beneficial, but it's just fun to talk about and kind of get a different perspective on, and hear a bunch of different reasons why it's beneficial to stake. And then we're going to go through some staking ideas and definitely supplies. And I can't wait to show you this one supply I got down here on the floor next to me. It's really fun, and just share some of those things. So with that, I'm going to move us to the next slide. Okay, so why is staking important? So there's a lot of different reasons, and there's probably a lot more reasons than here up on the screen, but definitely to keep your flowers upright. You don't want them flopping over. And a lot of flowers, especially like dahlias and gladiolas, they get top heavy, right? Especially if they're stretching even just a little bit. They're not going to be as strong as if they were a little bit shorter, a little bit stronger. So they are going to want to go over a little bit, or flop over, or bend over with any rain, with any even just a slight bit of wind. Sometimes different birds and animals will land on them, and that can just totally take them down, maybe even break them. So, and this is really important too. If you have a really packed in garden and things are stretching up and competing, staking might be really, really important to you for those plants, because when they're stretching and they're competing, they could be a little bit weaker in their stem structure. And again, you don't want them falling over. So get those stakes on there.
I know that's happened to us many times over the years. And also did you mention pollinators yet? Like just the fact that helping them find those flowers, right? Having them upright instead of flopping over.
Yeah, you want them visible, because you want it. Not only do you want to see them, but you want hopefully you want those pollinators to see them too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really important benefits to staking. And sometimes it's like, A, we don't have the time. Sometimes it's just like, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to go out and stake all this stuff. Or B, it's like a cost thing, because some of the supplies can be really expensive. But often you can just use string or twine, or, you can kind of DIY. And a lot of us have a lot of fun ideas for DIYing just different staking systems, and keep it kind of keep the cost low.
For better or for worse, over the last couple of years, a lot of us have had to just kind of do what we need to do to get it done. For different reasons. And so, it's whatever you have on hand.
Yeah, really.
A lot of times that's what you use, and it's fine.
And it'll work. I mean,
there's really no, you can use so many different things to stake plants, from a piece of wood to a stake to string to twine to tape. I mean,
random pieces of wood. I mean, just whatever you can find.
Yeah. So anyway, but definitely staking is really, really important too. Definitely for the health of the plant and preventing diseases and insects from thriving, because if they are flopping over, or they're just all your stems of your flowers are all going in one direction, and not just standing up on their own, kind of like equally, or naturally up, they're all kind of flopped over and matted down. That's a great area. That's a great opportunity for diseases and pests to just get in there and thrive. And so staking is important for that reason too.
Really important, definitely. So, before we move on, say hi to Mark. Mark's here. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
He was wondering if they were called peony rings as well. We were all trying to figure out what those are called. That might be it. But let's see. PVJ asked us, what do we think of those moss stake climbers? Those moss stakes they have. We're not really. We've never used those.
Never used them. They look interesting.
I thought those were more for indoor plants, aren't they? Or I might be totally wrong.
It might be a different product, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind, though, too.
That guy we met last summer.
I can't remember the name.
We met this man. He's Canadian, and he has this big company.
Moss something Moss. But it was really cool. Yeah, no. Definitely look into it. And just see if it fits your needs. I mean, I think it'd be interesting no matter what. It would definitely add, if it's the product I'm thinking about, no matter if it's indoors or outdoors, it would definitely add some green to your garden if you're lacking that, or you need it more vertical and you want to add that green kind of higher up from everything else for whatever reason. Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be cool. Yeah.
That would be. And PVJ mentioned a few comments ago that it brought up a fun conversation just thinking about natural stakes, like plants that are supporting other plants kind of unintentionally.
Oh, that's true. It
ends up being like this great, symbiotic relationship, basically, where they can.
If you can do that, if that's possible, that's great. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that lessens a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. So next, great comments. I like all those comments.
Oh, Erica B said she uses moss stakes indoors and they work great.
Awesome.
So, cool. Yeah. Cool. We haven't ever tried them, but they look really interesting. Okay.
Go.
Okay. So just kind of a quick overall. I mean, there's 1,000 more things we could have added to each of these columns, but Sean and I like charts and graphs and things. So we kind of divided it into 3 categories. Although we're not talking about veggies so much today. I mean, we can talk about it, just like in the chat, but we didn't address it. Today is mostly about staking flowers. So we kind of divided it into tall flowering bulbs, and that's what a lot of us have already been talking about. I mean, it's like dahlias, crocosmia, liatris, blazing star. Lilies often get really tall. Gladiolus, of course, get really tall sometimes, and they're just so top heavy. And it's that idea of, and as we all probably know, but like supporting that stem so it doesn't snap, right?
Yeah. And we have some top-heavy perennials in there too. And some of these you might think about, maybe some of them you haven't thought about. We threw hydrangeas in there as well because not only do they get top-heavy and they want to kind of bend a little bit. Those stems want to bend with a little bit of weight or, anything like after a rain or anything. But also, if you just planted some hydrangeas into your garden, they're a newer plant. You didn't get a chance to grow it in previous years, so you haven't been able to get it to grow stronger, more compact growth. So if it has any any stretch growth from the previous year from the grower or the nursery, you have to deal with that. And you don't want to prune those flowers off and try and retrain it and get it to be more compact right in that moment. More than likely, you want to enjoy the blooms. So this is a great opportunity to use staking to help keep those newer plants, including hydrangeas, but other plants too, in your garden upright, keep those flowers straight up for your own enjoyment and beauty and for pollinators.
I'm laughing because I'm like, that's literally like almost half of our hydrangeas this year are kind of in that boat because we got sent a bunch of new ones and they're they're beautiful, but they're kind of stretchy and kind of have longer stems. So,
so yeah, and it's good to stake a lot of new plants anyway in your garden just to help them get established, help them get that root structure, that anchoring down a little bit more so they don't, so if any wind or anything comes along or definitely rain and those flowers or part of the plant wants to go one way or the other, staking them helps get them anchored a lot faster and keeps them in the most optimal position straight up and down so they'll be as healthy as possible.
That's such a good point. We didn't even think to like add that in. Like, it's new plants.
Hey.
Also on the top heavy perennials list, I mean, anything tall like delphiniums, sometimes sunflowers.
Yeah.
If you're growing the sunflowers for just the beauty and kind of a back of the row border kind of thing, then often they can, I mean, as you know, they can get really big sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And as Allison mentioned it before, roses, we got it here on the bottom of the chart there, but straw flowers too.
Straw flowers.
Oh my gosh. We're missing them this year. We grew them last year. They came back with seed, from the seeds and such, but this year we didn't get any come back. We don't have any extra seeds. So we're kind of missing those.
I know. They're so fun to grow.
But they grow so tall. They grow huge.
And they bloom forever. I mean, into like November.
Months.
I want to say they almost bloomed into December either last year or the year before. We were like, what?
Yep.
Another one on the list that we thought of was spiderwort.
Yes.
We just planted a brand new beautiful one, and it just like is so top heavy and kind of like everything was falling all over the place when we planted it. So that one is definitely staked, kind of in a creative way, just to sort of keep it upright. But
well, and again, so that was a plant that was sent to us. It's a new plant. So again, we're dealing with growth that was previous to our care. If you think about it that way. And so we're dealing with what we're dealing with. And so next year when we have it, we'll be able to, once it starts popping out of the ground, once it starts growing, we'll definitely be able to start it with the stake, keep it upright. Right now, it's kind of doing one of these zigzag things. So, but yeah, that's a new plant from Proven Winners, isn't it?
I was going to say Walter's Gardens, but Proven Winners definitely. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And we've never grown spiderwort before, so it's kind of fun to learn about it. This is a learning year for us with that plant.
Yeah, it's if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like a cross between almost to me like a tigridia and like a iris or even a gladiolus. It's an interesting plant.
It is.
The leaf structure, and how it grows and it flowers. It's really pretty.
Tigridia is another one you might need to stake. We didn't even think that's such a fun, beautiful bulb.
And real quick, some veggies. Yeah, you can see the veggies up here. Yeah, you might know about these, you might not, but yeah, putting some type of stake or even a trellis for some of these really helps them thrive and produce a lot of vegetables. And
there's so many companies like Gardener's Supply comes to mind. They have so many different specific trellises for specific plants that you can use for other things too. But they've come up with a lot of creative products to kind of solve those problems.
Definitely. Yeah. So with that, let's move it along.
So we'll go to our first do, and these will go pretty fast. Just kind of just some quick tips. So now this is a picture of some liatris from our old garden, front yard, I think. Is that the front yard?
Yes, that was the front yard.
Okay. And one of our tips is definitely do tie the flowers higher on the stems. That's then versus closer to the ground. So do you want to go into a little more detail?
Sure, yeah, sure. So I mean, it's like you got a stem, right, and it's growing really tall. Well, if this is the ground and you tie it down here to a stake, that's not giving it a lot of support, right? So it can still fall over, it can still break, it can do a lot of different things. But the higher you go, the more stability it's going to have. So it's probably a no duh. A lot of people are like, well, yeah, tie it higher, but if you don't, some people don't understand that, or maybe haven't experienced that before. So
your gardening.
Yeah, and a lot of times what people will do, yeah, that too, yeah. But a lot of people, they'll see the plant come up, it'll emerge like this liatris. They'll stake it right away when it first comes up, which is always a good idea. Stake as soon as you can. Put that stake in there so it's less damaging down below to the root system and possibly the bulb in this case later on. But a lot of people will stake and tie it off right when it emerges, and then they forget about it. They don't take that twine, that staking, and readjust the tie further up. So keep that in mind. If you're staking early, make sure to put a reminder in your phone or somewhere to tell yourself, hey, readjust that twine, that staking, so it's further up on the stem.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Next step. So now that was a do, this is a don't. Don't tie so tight around the plant stem that it girdles the stem or the flower. This is important because a lot of people don't think about this. A lot of people are in such a hurry most of the time. They're just like, me too sometimes. And they'll tie it down, and it'll be so tight that it can literally dig into over time that stem, and it can actually girdle that stem of that flower, which not only damages it and makes it more apt to breakage, but it also cuts off the flow of nutrients up into the flower and the part of that stem, just beyond that girdling. So try not to do that if you can. So
I catch myself doing that sometimes. I need to kind of retie it a couple times sometimes, depending on the tie that is being used.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about some supplies in a little bit. Another do place the tie on the stem between the growing points. So again, don't girdle it or tie it so tight that it affects it, but definitely tie it between growing points so you're not hurting any leaves or hurting, it's the least resistance not resistance. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. The least worst place to put it, I guess.
Yeah. The least impactful.
That makes a lot more sense than what I'm saying.
Oh, it's okay. I think everybody knew what you meant.
Can't talk yet.
We're all simpatico here. And I think in this instance on that picture there, I think that's an iris.
No, that was a glad.
Oh, that was a glad?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like an iris. So yeah, on the glads too, you can see here on the screen, there's definitely distance on that stem between the leaves where they emerge from, or the inner nodes. And so that's a great place to tie your twist ties or your string or whatever you're using, Velcro. That's a great place to put that so it's not impacting the leaves or the flower, but and it's letting everything grow. It's giving that space to everything. So yeah, just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Now, don't place your stake or support through the main roots or the bulb or the underground root structure of that plant. A lot of times, again, we get into a hurry. We don't think about where are we placing that stake, in the ground. A lot of people put it right up next to that plant or to that bulb. And if you do that, there's a pretty good chance you're going to drive that stake either right through or take out a good chunk on the outside of that bulb. And that's going to impact not only the bulb's ability to flower and how long it lasts, but also the bulb's overall life. Because now you're opening it up to diseases, rot, different things. But this also can impact the plant itself, like a shrub, herbaceous shrub, woody shrub, trees, anything like that. You want to go away from that stem. And a good rule of thumb, at least for bulbs, is at least 3 inches. Now, if you've got a tree and it's got a good sized root ball when you place it in the ground, like maybe a 5-gallon pot or something, so it's good sized around, go off about maybe 2-3 feet away from the stem, from the center of the stem. Go off from that. You're going to have to use a lot more of the twine or your tying material, but you'll have a lot less impact on that root structure because, again, you don't want to damage the roots. That's what's anchoring the plant in the ground, and also that's what's taking up all the nutrients and water. So if you impact that, it's going to impact the top portion of the plant, and it just you go down a road that you don't need to go down to. So
definitely. Sorry, I was distracted.
What's going on?
Valerie let us know that this was referring to an earlier conversation we had about the book that she got about native perennials.
Yeah.
She said there seems to be a section on that of native perennials that come from bulbs, corms, tubers, and rhizomes.
Neat.
So
that's really cool. Okay, now we have to get it.
I know. I took a copy, or I copied the info you gave us, so we can check that out.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you.
So back to staking. So do set your stakes or supports out in the garden as soon as you can. I mean, this is something that we kind of often forget about every year because, obviously you're busy and, it's fertilizing time. It's, all the summer things that you're trying to do, the watering, So setting up those stakes ahead of the stems and flowers coming up is always a best practice. It's just not one that we hit as often as we wish we could.
No, we wish we could.
But it really has a lot less impact on the flowers later. Because then you're like, right now we need to go around and stake a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just best practice.
Well, and it's good to do it at the beginning of the year where you're going to need it, because then if you run into, hey, I don't have enough stakes this year because I bought so many other plants, but I forgot to add into my thinking, I bought all these new plants that need stakes, but I haven't bought the stakes yet.
Which happened before. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple times. So it's good to get on top of that as soon as possible, so then you can run, when you run into, at least you don't have enough stakes or anything, it's better to know sooner than later, so you're not scrambling. So, but so good stuff. Okay, so don't tie your flower staking material so tight that the flower and the stem are actually pulled in one way or the other, and it's under tension. This is always a really good idea because you want that stem of that plant or that flower stalk to have some wiggle room. You want it to move a little bit so it stays strong, and if it's continuing to grow, because if you tied it off and staked it like a gladiolus, it's still developing and it's still coming up, and you staked it early, you want to make sure that it has that wiggle room from that stake so it can grow strong and sturdy and steady, and it's not being pulled in one direction or another, because if you have it under tension, it's not going to be as strong and build that strength as it keeps growing with the movement of water, birds and insects, and or wind. And that's kind of goes back to even back into just regular plants, when they're starting to grow as seedlings or younger plants, you don't want to tie them off with a lot of tension on them, because they won't have that strength later on. And you take that, any ties or any type of staking off it, and they'll just, if it's under tension going this way, you take it off, it just flops over because it's been pushing and pulling this way for however long it's been going. And the same goes for a flower stalk or stem. If even for like a gladiolus or a crocosmia or something, if it's really under a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, and for whatever reason that goes away, the staking goes away before it's done flowering, it's going to flop, it's going to move. So, but there's also the caveat of like of a crocosmia, when it flowers, it likes to kind of move over it. It's gonna be top heavy, depending on which one you have and where you have it growing. But even the ones we have in perfect locations, they'll start to just tip and bend on their own. And so some plants, you can't get away from having a little bit of tension on it to keep it upright where you want it. So it's just kind of like knowing which plants will do that and which ones don't, and just being okay with them then having that tension. So in a perfect world, you don't want to have any tension on it, but if you need to and have to, you got to do what you got to do. So there's always caveats in gardening, right? Go ahead.
Definitely. No, I'm just sorry. I'm in the Mark had a really weird thing happen. Sorry, you're talking about our topic. I'm just like chatting in here with everybody.
That's okay.
Mark mentioned that he's like, guys, I wanted to mention this because maybe others had this happen, but he came right into the chat at 9:17 our time. He realized that he had been unsubscribed and could not comment. And we were like, what? I said, that's so weird. And he mentioned that has happened on what's her name, Jenny, the Gardening with Creekside channel.
Oh,
That they
okay.
were mentioning that a similar thing had happened where people got unsubscribed and da-da-da. And I'm like, pretty sure gardening isn't controversial, but I don't.
No, but you know, there's
That's weird.
YouTube and Google. They've been doing a lot more AI things, and so I can
Oh,
kind of see that, you know, even if we're not
interesting.
controversial, there's some unsubscribing going on. They're always tweaking that AI
They
function
keep
and
it,
the
you're right.
algorithm. So you know, we like to watch a bunch of different channels on YouTube just personally, and some of them might be considered controversial when they're really not.
I don't.
It's just opinions. Everybody's got their opinion, right? It's a free country still. So, but they talk about that a lot too, where they're being shadow banned or they're, for whatever reason, I can't see why we would be.
It's just,
But
you're right. It's
so
probably.
so yeah, if you're here, if you're listening, anybody out there, thank you, Mark, by the way,
I
for bringing
know.
this
I
up.
hope that didn't happen to anybody else.
Yeah, so if you're experiencing that for whatever reason, make sure to go subscribe, and then we've got it set up on all our videos that once you subscribe, you can start commenting right away. So yeah, so we have that already built in. But yeah, sorry that happened, Mark. Gosh, that's crazy.
Mishaps, yeah. He's like, screw ups, yeah.
Well,
Say it, mishaps, yeah.
well, and technology and algorithms and AI and wow,
There's a lot.
It's too much.
Well, and then there was that big, like, worldwide Microsoft thing that happened yesterday. You told me.
Oh
about
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
wasn't even paying attention.
yeah.
But
Basically, it was a cyber attack worldwide because of some company's update to that impacted
okay. That's what you
Microsoft
said.
Enterprise software, and it just took down so many things around the world, including the U.S. So yeah,
That's scary that something that simple can
it
happen.
really is.
Anyway, this
Okay.
is why we talk about gardening, because
Yeah, we like to keep all that away.
yeah.
We can worry about that later.
Happy.
Yeah. So gardening is our happy place.
Gardening is all of our happy place. And I told Mark, thank you for resubscribing.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Goodness.
That's crazy.
Mark, you've been with us for so long.
Yeah,
We're so happy
really,
you're
right?
still here.
You know what? Maybe just talking about it, maybe we need to put out a post or something, telling people, just remind them, say, hey, you know, if you've been unsubscribed or whatever, or you're not getting any updates, make sure to go check it out, resubscribe.
Yeah,
all
maybe
that.
after the live.
Yeah, we'll do that. Mark. Yeah, you're prompting us to do that. Mark.
I know. I'll write that down so we remember.
Thank you.
So, okay, real quick, now we're getting into supplies. So this will be fun because Tracy, you had a question a little while ago, and thank you for being patient. I was like, oh, we're totally going to get to that. Wondering about what kind of stakes, what kind of well, she was asking about ties that we like, you know, that we would recommend.
Yes.
So we've got a slide for that coming up. So this is your section, Tracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Do we want to talk about any of this
go
stuff?
ahead.
Oh, okay.
If you don't mind, I'll write them.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. So I'm sure you're almost all of you, pretty much all of you, are very familiar with bamboo stakes, metal stakes, plastic coated metal stakes, and then there's just plastic stakes. But also, you see up here on the screen, there's pieces of wood. You can use like small, thin pieces of wood to get up there to put with your plants to keep them upright. Now you can see that stake that right in the center there. That's pretty darn close to that plant stem, and that's something I wouldn't recommend doing. So close. I mean, that's what you don't want to do.
That's not our picture.
That's definitely not our picture.
The rest are.
Yeah.
No, that one's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the one on the right's not ours either. But yeah, that wood stake so close to that small, it almost looks like some type of ornamental tree or maybe a fruit tree. You want to be further out. That is so close. I'm sure they damage the roots when they put that in. So that's a good example of what not to do with the stake, but it's a good example of using wood as a stake, a small piece or more thinner piece of wood there. So anyway, yeah. I didn't catch that before.
I didn't either. Sorry, I found the picture.
Oh, that's fun. No, that's a good example. It's good to show that. So now, for what to use for twist ties, this is fun. So we found over the years a lot of different things to use, and there's the metal twist ties that come in the pack, and they look like the same things you might use to open and close, a loaf of bread or something like that. But also we've got, well, we don't have them here, but they're metal twist ties, but they're plastic coated, and that a good example of that is what you see on the right hand side of the screen there. And they're called soft ties, I think.
Yeah,
and there's a link down below. There's a link down below in the description for specifically these on Amazon. It's an affiliate link, So just putting that out there. But these are great. We've used these over the last couple of years. They are fantastic. And especially if you can find them in green. They come in brown and green and a couple other colors, but the green ones are fantastic because they literally blend in to all the foliage around it when you're using it around those types of plants. So it's really cool. So you don't even see them from not even like a couple feet away. It's really, really good. And then you can see on the left-hand side of the screen some Velcro twist ties, and we've got some examples of those. These are really cool. I think I've got I think I put in the description too a link for that on Amazon too. But here's these, and these are great. They come in little rolls like this, and so it's Velcro brand, but it's one wrap garden ties for plants, cut to length. So it comes in one big roll, and you can literally cut this to the size you need. You just start unwinding it, like you see here, and it's all stuck together. It's really cool stuff. So it's so on the back side, it's got the one texture, and then on the other side, it's got the opposite sticky texture. So it works really well. It's all in one. You just take what you need right there, and then cut that length off, and then tie it around, and it ties right to itself.
Yeah, those are.
So there you go.
Obviously we have some we haven't used yet.
Pretty cool.
It also comes in a wider size too, and we've got those linked in our little Amazon store thing that we have for staking supplies.
Yes.
So they have this thinner strip, and then they have a wider one.
Yes, and there's a separate link for the Amazon store where we have all of our favorite stuff that's available to you from Amazon.
And I just, speaking of that, I just put that link in the chat, and I pinned it, so it should be right at the top of your
good job.
Your chat thing.
Good job. So anyway, there's also twine. You can use twine. Some people even use just raw metal wire. They'll just use copper wire, whatever they have, So, I mean, that's okay to use as long as it's not too tight on the plant. You're not, it's not going to girdle it and do some different things.
I would think anything like that would really hurt the stem, though, which, would eventually,
it depends. No, it depends on how you use it. If it's not so narrow, if you don't pinch it and make it so narrow, you make it more like round. If you make it more round, then it just cradles the plant instead of pinching it. So.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, all right. So there's some
the
twist
soft
tie
ties
stuff.
are really fun.
Okay.
Okay, these are some ideas for creative things, creative type of structures or supports that you can, if you have to give a situation, like for us with our containers, sometimes we have different things going on, and sea bites. Now these are super cool, and you can basically create your own structure using these little, they call them sea bites clips. We met you guys might have heard of them through us already because we've talked about these guys a couple times.
Yeah, Jason and Morgan.
Morgan Ryder. They're brother and sister team.
Yeah, they make these themselves. They're based out of Colorado.
They're super cool.
US based company, US manufacturing, super cool. And they both are just wonderful people to talk to.
They really are. They're helping us kind of we have a bunch of questions about some things to do with
So these are tiny little sea bites. If you can see them, I don't know if you can see those. They're outside of the light there too. But I'm holding them in my hand. They fit together in all different kinds of configurations for whatever you need. I'm just going to slap them together. You can see on the picture there, on the what do you call it? Yeah, on the screen there. You can see that it fits together that way. These just, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say they're meant, as you can see in the picture, they're meant to clip around those powder-coated metal, plastic-coated metal type stakes that you buy. So you can create your own structure. Plus, you could just put these all together and make something if you need to.
And
cool.
And you know what you should do? If you got a chance, go to Thriving Design here on YouTube, the Thriving Design YouTube channel, and that's these guys. That's Sea Bites. That's the company that makes these, and that's Jason and Morgan. And they show different configurations of how to put all these together. And look what I just created in a couple seconds here. So Jason will go through and he'll make different kinds of things with these, including a Death Star. And he can make a speeder. I think he's made a globe with these. I mean, that's a Death Star technically, but I mean, he's made all sorts of different kinds of objects with these just to show just the different ways you can fit them all together. It's really, really cool.
Well, what I like about them is we were able to create last year. We have this long trough planter that we have most of our glads in right now, and it just didn't, like the tall stand alone kind of stakes and stuff. They just didn't really work. Like we were able to create like a big structure that you could. I mean, you could buy something like that for a lot more money, but like,
oh, we don't have them here.
It kind of held everything up, and you remember you made like a fence almost kind of halfway up the glad, so it just sort of held everything.
Yeah.
back.
So these are
compact.
What Allison's describing is basically I took these sea bites and let me see if I can get that one off of there. Get off of there. So what I did is I took these sea bites. These fit perfectly right around like 1/2 inch plastic coated metal stakes, the green ones you find. They fit perfectly around there. They grip them because of how they're built. The notches here on the inside, but they just pop right on. And then you can build off of this with more of these sea bites. You can build off of these with the metal stake like this. You build off of it to make whatever configuration you need. I took the metal stakes, put them upright like this. Then I took one of the other sea bites, put it on here, and the stake could go 90 degrees across, and I built just this little enclosure with these for the glads because they were just flopping all over the place. And so, excuse me. And so, yeah, these work really cool to make all different kinds of things. And again, so if you go to Thriving Design here on YouTube, and they're all also on Instagram.
I've got their website in the chat for everybody.
So check out any of those if you want to look at different configurations on how to use these for all different kinds. I mean, tomatoes, cut flowers, trellis systems, just, a single trellis system, or like there's a vertical, there's a horizontal kind of trellis system you can use them for, multi-layered trellises. I mean, whatever your imagination, you can literally build it if you have enough supplies of these and the metal stakes. It's crazy.
It is. So anyway. Valerie just commented, it's like Tinker Toys for horticulture. That's basically it.
Totally.
The inventor stuff, like you were saying, he just will just make stuff, and he started a whole nother Instagram channel just to show all of his little creations.
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, so we've spent a lot of time. Right? We've spent a lot of time talking about these, but we just wanted to really tell you about these, and they're a great company, U.S. based, U.S. manufacturing, U.S. owned, and founded, and so Sea Bites by Thriving Design. Okay,
so I'm going to move us over here. So a lot of you might already be familiar with Gardener's Supply for certain things, and some of you were mentioning the peony rings. I think this is what you guys were talking about earlier.
These are cool.
But they can be used for daisies. They can be used for echinacea. Now, this is the type of structure you would definitely want to get in the ground as soon as possible so it can grow up through it. You wouldn't want to, I mean, we've done this before in the past. Again, just being busy and whatever, like tomatoes, for example, trying to put a tomato cage around the tomato plant when it's already
It's the same scenarios as caging a tomato. Do it as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
As soon as you plant the tomato, put the cage around it, basically. And if you can do that with the peonies, or just when they're starting to emerge up out of the ground, those eyes are coming up, those buds are coming up with the stems and everything. Do it as soon as you can.
Well, they look cute. I could see those around. I mean, you could use them for tulips, daffodils. I mean, whatever you have that you want to have a fun grouping, even dahlias. I mean, but they have a lot of other different types of systems and things that they sell. And a lot of them, we have them linked in our Amazon store. So they have them on their website, of course.
So
cool. Oh, another idea for staking and just being creative and fun. We've showed you the part of this slide before, but obelisks, those are always they kind of look beautiful in the garden, and then you can use them. And for these pictures, they're showing some climbing plants, but you can use them to stake things and kind of just have them inside.
Yeah, clematis, but also like beans and morning glory, and I mean, if it's a vining climber, obelisks are great for it.
But you could even use them for your taller perennials, just have them like the picture on the right there. I think one of those is a rose.
Oh, okay.
So I think
great. Yeah, that'd be beautiful.
Just an idea.
Yeah. So let me scroll up here. Let's get on. Okay.
Oh, I think we're kind of kind of towards the end here. So we already talked about some of our favorites, but here's just kind of a quick recap. Sea bites, soft ties are so cool. I wish we had those in our hand.
I know.
Did we mention the green ones are sold out on Amazon right now? They're like everybody bought them up, but the brown ones are still available. So that's what we're using in our garden right now, just because that's all we had. We can't find our green ones. We know we have them somewhere.
Yep, those powder coated or plastic coated metal stakes. They come in all different sizes. 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, all the way up to 6 foot, maybe even longer. So depending on what you need. There's a lot of different options out there. You can also take the longer ones and literally cut them or bend them and snap them to get more use out of them if you don't need so long, but you need more of them. So that's an easy way to do it. And if you break them off or cut them, there's these little toppers, these plastic toppers for safety to put on top of them to cap them. So you're not walking around and possibly coming up against and rubbing up against like sharp metal. You can cut yourself on that stuff. So yeah, those little caps, those plastic caps are really great for that. So yeah. And then, okay, so that was pretty much it of things right there, but I'm going to move us up here. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's all we have to present to you for flower staking, plant staking. Hope that was helpful. And we want to let you know that we're trying to get better about making sure that you know that because we've partnered with a couple different companies and we're always working on partnering with more, that you can get some type of deal, some type of discount possibly, hopefully, because you're a part of our audience. You watch our content. You can get deals on, for Eden Brothers, their bulbs, their seeds, their bare roots, Crescent Garden, for their containers, their self-watering technology, smart pots, the fabric pots, really cool, really innovative products and high quality bulbs and seeds. So yeah, so just wanted to present this to you, make sure that you have this option.
Is it weird to think that like it's actually kind of time to start thinking about our fall bulbs, and if we're going to add any more daffodils or tulips and things, those companies are getting ready to like get their 2024 stock out.
You can pre-order.
You can pre-order
on like Eden Brothers. You can pre-order, get on the list for daffodils, tulips. Also the seeds though. Yeah, I mean to me I'm starting to think of, okay, what fall crops do we want to plant? Are there any fall vegetable crops that we want to plant? We don't usually present a lot of that to you guys because we're more of ornamentalists. We like the flowers and the plants, but we also do some vegetable growing too. So, and Eden Brothers is great for that. So
I know it's kind of weird. I don't know why my mind's still so on like this, not so much spring, but just getting plants ready. And I mean, we're in it. We're already in we're past mid-July and it's going to be August before we know it. And then it's like, whoa, we're moving towards fall already. It's like, I don't know, my mind's kind of blown a little bit about how fast time is.
It's always going fast. I think it comes maybe with a little bit with age and just also with technology and how fast paced everything is. So
I know, I can't keep up lately. I just want to get out in our garden and take pictures and just care for everything and just enjoy it. And then it's just it seems like it's gone in the blink of an eye.
I know.
It's like,
right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
But wonder if you guys are going through that as well.
So just wanted to put that out there. This is pretty much it for us too, as far as what we had to present to you today. We hope it was helpful. Hope that was fun.
I know. It is like we mentioned earlier. It's kind of something that a lot of us probably already know a lot about, but often, maybe hopefully you picked up a new nugget or two, just some ideas, of things that you can use, or maybe flowers you forgot that, oh yeah, those might need to be staked. Eventually, I don't know. It's just fun to talk about it, right? I mean, it is. We're just here talking about our gardens and.
Yeah. We, there's always different ways of thinking about things, new things to learn. I just, it's always fun to just hear from you guys, what you guys are doing out there, what you use, how you do it. So yeah, it's fun.
Definitely is. We would love to hear from you guys. What are you doing in your gardens this weekend? Do you have any big projects, or are you just kind of keeping up with everything like the watering and all that?
Yeah.
Let us know in the chat, because that'd be fun to hear. We have a lot of watering to do. That's coming up probably tomorrow, and
always,
as we all do.
Always.
We're gonna do probably some fertilizing, and we're also moving. We have a giant pile of mulch at my mom's house that got delivered, so we're working on getting that spread around her backyard for her stuff, and then also our containers.
Yeah, and if you're definitely, and if you're like mulching during the summertime, it's really dry out. A lot of people don't think about this. I always like to talk about this. If you're going to mulch in the summertime. It's super dry, haven't had a lot of water. You might be keeping up your watering, but before you mulch in the summer, make sure to thoroughly water the soil around your plants before you put the mulch over it, so it's not kept more on the dry side or in that current state. You want it to start out with a lot of moisture in the soil before you put that extra layer of covering and insulation. Because if it's super dry, you put that mulch over it, you're creating a barrier to keep it in that current state, and it acts as a barrier for moisture to get more moisture to it. In some cases, and that can be a real big negative. Obviously, if your plants need the water, and now you got 2 to 4 inches now of mulch to get that water through. And plus, watering, if you're gonna have to water through the mulch to get to dry soil, you're gonna have to use a lot more water to get through that barrier. And then water is kind of expensive right now. It keeps kind of going up in price, so you don't want to add to your bill. So anyway, word of the wise: water before you mulch in the summer. So
the end on that.
Yes,
that's right. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Okay, so just kind of wrapping up here. Thank you guys for letting us know that this was kind of fun and helpful. And Pipgorn had mentioned thank you because Pipgorn said, I have very little staking experience.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of people maybe haven't needed to do that yet, or like they've never grown those types of flowers or whatever. So yeah, that makes us really happy.
Yeah, glad it was helpful.
Yeah, and Tracy mentioned she's going to get some of the Velcro tape.
Yay!
This stuff, you're going to love it. This is cool. This is 50 feet. This is a 50-foot length, and I can't remember if they must come in bigger sizes than that, but
they might. Yeah.
Again, they have the thin, or they have like a wider strip, and they probably have some other configurations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, PVJ. Yes. I'm glad you mentioned this because I saw your comment come in on one of the videos and then I couldn't find it again. PVJ said, I hope you guys get around to doing my video idea. And I think you're talking about the sleeves, right? Can you let us know in the chat? Yeah. I wanted to reply on that because we were just talking about that yesterday. The company, what are they called? Farmers Defense?
Yes, something like that. I can't remember.
They reached out to us like a couple years ago and wanted us to try those out. And I think we got busy.
We didn't respond.
We're going to reach out to them and see if we can get that set up.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to see if they had, it looks like they mainly market to ladies. I wanted to see if they market to men too. If there's something for the guys.
They have guys on their website in some of the pictures.
I didn't see any of that.
Oh, I thought I saw some.
Yeah. I was only checking out their Instagram too. I only checked out their Instagram. So that's all I saw on the Instagram advertisement.
Yeah, we definitely want to try those out for you and see what we think. There's often times where like you needed something like that because maybe it's so hot out, you got like a t-shirt on or whatever, and your sleeves are exposed and your gloves only come up so far, right? So it's like, plus they have like a UV protection in them, which I always think is great.
Good idea.
I personally don't see myself wearing them all the time because I think I would just be too hot. But
I think they're a breathable material too. And for me too, this is the other thing. For me, I don't like putting on a lot of sunblock or sunscreen because it's so oily. And I sweat and it just kind of mixes with the sweat. It just makes this ooey gooiness. I don't like it at all. So something that I could put on to take away the need of putting on sunscreen all over my arms and stuff. And I can just put a hat on to protect my neck and my face and my ears. I would really appreciate that because I don't like putting all that stuff on me. And I don't even know, a lot of times what's in all that stuff I'm putting on my skin.
I know.
It's absorbing into my skin. How's my body processing it? I'd rather just cover myself with something on my arm and then go. So anyway.
I know. I get that. I'm really particular about that too. Sometimes you're like, you got to use what is around. And you're like, what's absorbing into my body right now?
Yeah.
I love UV clothing. That's something that I want to keep adding to my gardening clothes supply, just like stuff that has that protection in it already.
That's a good idea right there. That's a good reason.
Yeah, definitely PVJ. So the photosensitivity of being outside, that's something I could talk to my mom about too, because she could probably benefit from those as well. Because now Tracy, you said in the chat that you've tried them and you loved them. I can't remember. Do they go all the way up to your elbow?
Some go up to the elbow, some go past the elbow
wow.
to the upper arm. It just depends on which one you get. You know, I'm just thinking about it here as we're talking about it. I'm going to sweat anyway during the summer. I'm just going to sweat. It's warm enough. I'm just going to sweat. So if I can have this thing over me, it might make me a little bit warmer, but I don't have to have put all that stuff on. I'd rather just, because I'm going to sweat anyway, I'll put this thing on. No problem. No problem at all.
Again, I just don't see myself wearing them all day in the garden. I don't know. They'd bother me. I wonder if they slide down. I have a thing with like things sliding. I have to have gloves that have Velcro.
Well,
I hate them when they like flip up.
I think they're elastic. They have elastic bands on them, and then they're also they're form fitting. At least the ones I saw.
Okay.
So that helps keep it snug and keep it in place, I think.
I'd be really interested to try them. So we're gonna get back in touch with that company and see what we can do about that. I don't know how soon that'll happen, you know, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll reach out. That'd be
definitely.
Fun. Yeah.
So really good suggestion though. Thank you. Oh, Tracy said hers go up to her upper arm.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. Right on.
Cool, you guys. That's a fun suggestion. We love trying new things. So we'll get on that and we'll see what we can do with that.
So, hey, if you're seeing this in the replay too, drop your comment down below. Let us know if you use those sleeves. Let us know if you do any staking, what supplies you like to use, what plants you use them on. We'd love to know. So
yeah, definitely. And we'll let you know about next week's live. We may or may not be live. I don't know. I need to talk to Sean about that.
We haven't talked about it yet.
But we'll be back for sure, like coming soon, either next week or the week after, and then beyond after that. So if you have some topic ideas that you'd like us to talk about, or to kind of like either teach about or just a discussion that we can have on our lives, let us know.
Yeah.
Definitely drop that in the comments as well, because we're always like open to ideas as long as we have, you know, if we feel like we can contribute to that.
Yeah, and if you're not comfortable for whatever reason putting in the comments, you can always email us at seanandallison@spokengarden.com. Yeah, send us an email. Let us know.
Yeah, we'd love that. I know. But I guess that's probably it for now. So you guys were so thankful that you were here and that you just hung out in the chat. We all love talking about gardening and just kind of what's going on. And I mean, we're talking about gardening sleeves. So it wasn't, who knew?
That was fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, guys, thanks for being here. Have a great day. Stay hydrated. Stay out of the sun if you can. And we'll definitely check you. We'll definitely see you next week, if not sooner. So thanks.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have
a
great weekend.
Have a great weekend.